Ex-girlfriend back at your door. What happens if you give in to emotions and rekindle the relationship? A psychologist's answer. There's a ton of information online about what to do if an ex-girlfriend who once left you suddenly decides to get back together. Armchair commentators passionately argue you should kick such a girlfriend to the curb. Pragmatic men say it'll last a week or two, then she'll leave again and it'll hurt more. Statisticians cite numbers showing that 99% of girlfriends will leave again, while female psychologists tell you to surround the girlfriend with care and comfort. Naturally, it's easy to get lost in all this, and after watching all that, end up even more confused. Throw up your hands and think, why did I even start watching and listening to this? At least before, I listened to my own inner voice. I'll talk about getting back together from the perspective of the psychological processes happening in a girlfriend's life, using a three-act play as the framework. Act 1. You've been rejected. You're no longer needed. Cut off all contact. This step is straightforward. The vast majority of people have encountered this situation. The girlfriend leaves because she no longer needs you. She finds you repulsive, so at first she doesn't even want to talk to you. You should experience this as a betrayal. Then your behavior will be more or less appropriate. This may sound like news to you, but no one ever owed you anything. By agreeing to date you, a girlfriend cannot guarantee you'll spend your whole lives together. She doesn't have to go through all your problems and failures with you, or tolerate your personality and clinginess. And you don't owe anyone anything either. Therefore, forcing or begging a girlfriend to come back is a road to nowhere. We're adults, and when we decide something, we should bear responsibility for that decision. Don't think the girlfriend is somehow different from you. No, she isn't stupid. No, she isn't under hypnosis. No, her friends can't talk her into it. She decided herself, all on her own. Life becomes simpler and the clinginess fades. Act 2. New life after. Problems in it. The desire to stay friends. A broken comeback. You're tormented by the question, how could she betray me? The answer is impossibly simple. She didn't betray you. A person's psychological field shapes desires, and the person is merely a vessel. Imagine a store clerk who refuses to exchange your item. All your anger crashes down on her, even though she's following orders from management. You don't see the management, so for you it basically doesn't exist. But the clerk is real, so she gets the blame. If you knew how to influence the field in the relationship, you likely wouldn't have let it reach a breakup. In the relationship, you try to force the clerk to fulfill your demands, but she merely follows management. But you recognize this only now, so your behavior should be as if you were betrayed. Only then can you cut off all contact with her and stop feeding her with your grand persona. Time passes, and a sequence of events unfolds that tells you nothing. Then, one morning, you wake up to a message from her. Or she calls. Or you notice her near your house. She wants to make peace. You've been waiting for this. You happily reconcile, and maybe even give her an hour-long lecture about her behavior and how you suffered. The things that led her to this impulse are chaos to you now, so you miss the obvious. A girlfriend's initial outreach is not connected to a real desire to restore the relationship. She simply doesn't understand why you were repulsive and have become interesting. If you're clingy or greedily gobble up every crumb of attention, you won't even reach the stage of interest. She writes to you simply because she writes. And here, a good half of men start dragging the girlfriend back into a relationship. Two options. Either she has zero interest and immediately says no, or she may give in to a momentary impulse. In both cases, we get a negative result and an army of men who flood forums and comment sections with angry tirades about girlfriends and questions about getting back together. Honestly, what did you expect? What outcome? That in a week the girlfriend would realize everything and crawl on her knees before your greatness? How many stories do you know where servants become kings in a week? I don't know any either. Quite often, men don't react to the first contacts, and over time, they get clearer messages from the girlfriend. You're dear to me. That's it. It worked. Your significance grows with distance. Subjective value turns into objective. There are lots of upsides. But you need to learn to read a girlfriend's message correctly. You're dear to me means only that. You are dear to her. That's it. It does not contain a desire to restore the relationship. And what does the army of men do? They reply, "You're dear to me too. Let's try again. Please, I've changed. I'll do anything for you." Such men make themselves sick, and after getting rejected, they become misogynists who sit on forums and invent a girlfriend they could magnanimously condescend to and start talking to. The paradox is that the girlfriend from their stories wouldn't even look at them. And such men live in their own illusions, where they are incredibly successful and desired. In reality, any reasonable woman avoids them. As you can see, Act 2 of our play sinks most attempted comebacks and produces those very 95% of men who talk about the ill-fated vase that can't be glued back together. Naturally, if you decide to restore the relationship at this stage, nothing will work unless you're superhuman. Final act. The real result. Only 5% of men make it to this stage. Sometimes they get there unconsciously. Imagine a man gets dumped by his girlfriend, but he's a reasonable guy, so he doesn't stay on the market of single men for long. He's in another relationship, and after some time, the ex-girlfriend starts coming after him. She knows he loved her, and her life now, for some reason, isn't coming together, even though at the breakup, her prospects seemed incredible. And he, as a man who's already taken, doesn't respond to her contacts. Naturally, he gets the result, in the form of a comeback, which he no longer even needs. But the point is that a man who wants to restore the relationship will still reach the result with the right behavior, as long as he doesn't bail somewhere in Act 2. When it wasn't you who dragged the girlfriend back into the relationship, but she who pulled you in, at that moment, you have the opportunity to build the relationship while avoiding the mistakes made earlier. Your positions are roughly equal, and you're not starting from a power imbalance like in Act 2. You've gotten yourself back and gotten her back. More about the stages, the comeback, the psychological field, and relationship mistakes on my channel.